Hey everybody, today we're going to fill out the 2024 Biden-Trump map based on the current prediction markets. So for this, I'm going to use Polymarket because they have all 50 states. And for this, we can't really use the normal margins, so here's how it's going to go. Safe is going to be if there's a 50% lead or more. Likely is going to be 25 to 50. Lean is going to be 10 to 24. And tilt is going to be anything that's single digits under 10. You could do it a different way if you'd like. Nothing's going to be perfect. And of course, these markets do fluctuate sometimes day to day. And this is not going to be a prediction of the actual margin. This just shows where people are putting their money if they were to predict the winner. Some of these margins are close, but let's get into it. We'll start with the safe states for Joe Biden. First, let's just plug in the obvious ones. He's going to get Hawaii and the West Coast. In the Midwest, he's going to get Illinois. And then the East Coast, all those usual blue states are going to be blue, including New York. That one still has more than a 90% chance of going to Biden. While we're on the East Coast, we're also going to give him Virginia. That was around a 79% chance of going to Biden and had a 52% margin, so that is going to go safe. New Hampshire is the other semi-competitive state, but that was over a 50% margin for Biden, so he's going to get it safe. One more for Biden is going to be in the northeast corner, and it's going to be Maine at large. And the other two states that fall into this category are also Colorado and New Mexico. Neither of those not much of a surprise. Both of those heavily at least expected to go toward Biden, and of course last time they both were over a 10-point margin. And the last state we're going to put in this category of safe for Biden is going to be Minnesota. There's been talk about it potentially being competitive. The current market showed it in the high 70s for Biden and more than a 50-point margin, so it's going to go safe. Now we can do the safe states for Trump, and there's a ton of them. We're going to start in Alaska. Then after that, west coast to east, we've got Idaho and Utah, and we'll put in all the expected states through the Great Plains, the Midwest to the East Coast in South Carolina. That's all pretty much how everybody would expect. Now after that, the other states that fall into this category are Iowa and Ohio. Then going south, we've got Texas and Trump's home state of Florida. All of those at the time I made the video were favored for Trump by at least 89%. But he's also going to get one more state out of this. North Carolina was sitting at 78% for Trump. That's more than a 50% margin, so it is going to go safe. And the last vote for Trump is going to be in Maine's 2nd Congressional District. Nothing too shocking there except for maybe North Carolina. It was narrowly won by Trump in 2020. He's definitely favored to win it this year, but the confidence in that market might be a little bit more than expected. Now we can go down to the likely states for Biden. Again, these are between a 25 and a 50-point margin on the betting markets. Now, Joe Biden actually only has one on this map. That's going to be in Nebraska's 2nd Congressional District. That was a more than 40% gap in favor of Biden. Now we can do the likely states for Trump. He's got a couple of them. The first one is going to be Nevada. That one was right at a 25-point margin, so it's borderline lean likely. Since it was at 25, I'm going to say it's just enough to go likely. Then in the southeast, he's going to get the Sunbelt state of Georgia. That one close to a 29-point likelihood for Trump. Next, we could go down to the lean states. These would be between a 10 and a 24-point margin. Joe Biden does not have any. Donald Trump has one, and that's going to be the Grand Canyon state of Arizona. The market showed Trump was at a 59% chance to win, at 39% for Biden. That's enough for him to get it by a lean. And now we've got 3 states left. We've got the Rust Belt, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And these 3 are all under a 10-point tilt margin. So these are all pure toss-ups and extremely close, but they all have the exact same rating, and they're all a tilt for Joe Biden. He was at about a 51 to 52% chance in these states. Meanwhile, Trump was at a 45 to 49%. So that's not really any kind of a confident advantage. But if we're not going to do toss-ups, then Biden does have the very slight edge. So if this map happened, that would come out to 270 electoral votes for Biden, 268 for Trump. When you ask who's more likely to win the general election, then Trump does win. But when you break it down by the individual states, then you get this map here, and voters think that Biden is slightly more likely to win the specific battlegrounds. That's at least according to where people are putting their money, but it's still June, and this is just the prediction market. This is not really that scientific. I remember back in 2016, the prediction markets I predicted, especially in the Rust Belt at the time, they all had Hillary Clinton winning it comfortably. That was right before the election, and we all know how that turned out. Back in 2020, that was kind of a mess on the prediction markets. Trump was trailing in many of the polls, but he did have a lead on election night. But mail-in ballots trickling in toward Biden over the subsequent days ended up tipping it toward Biden. So the markets were kind of all over the place. Also remember, you could get on there day to day, sometimes even hour to hour, and the markets will be different. Sometimes they can change in a hurry if a new batch of polls drop. So I don't put a lot of weight on the markets, but I think it's worth taking a look at because people are actually putting their money on the line. But ultimately, anything I would say within 20 points of the markets would be pretty much a pure toss-up. And that's what I would think right before the election. We've got months to go, anything could change, but this is how the map would look if it's filled out based on the current prediction markets. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about these markets? Do you care about the markets? Do you not care? Do you care but they're so close close that this doesn't matter? How much do you think they're going to change? How much are they over or underestimating Biden and Trump? Let me know down below on your way out. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Join if you'd like to help support the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.